Welcome to part 2, or number 2, of booking the wrestler Sheamus. Now, if you remember the first episode of booking the wrestler, Sheamus has come back as a true Celtic warrior, carrying a shillelagh. Originally came out in the kilt, wearing a sash, making him look like he was a true fighter for Ireland. During the 14th, 15th, and 1600s, well actually I think a little bit earlier than that, maybe 12, 13, 14, or 1500s, because things did kind of change after the Commonwealth was formed, if I understand European history. And I'm not really a big, someone who knows a lot of European history, but I do believe that it's been very hard for them after they were taken over by England. They fought very hard. But he would be a true wrestler for Ireland. And this is what I would do next. After about 2 to 3 months of him being booked dominant to the point where either he destroys his opponents so utterly or actually made them afraid to get in the ring, he would go up against someone that you wouldn't expect would be a big issue. And that would be Bad News Barrett. Yes, I would book him having a feud with Bad News Barrett. That would be a real tough feud for the simple reason is this. I don't want to drag up animosity between England and Ireland. England and Ireland settled their differences in the last 20 some odd years. England and Ireland have now separated, and Ireland is now more of a free country now. So things are way different than they were during the time of the Irish Liberation Movement and all the bombings that were going on in Ireland. And I think some bombings in England. I might be wrong about that, but like I said before in the previous video, I don't really know a lot about British and European history. But in this situation, Finn Finlay, back in WCW, had done something like that with another wrestler named William Regal. So why not drag that up? That eventually Sheamus was built up so strongly that he would have a feud with someone that was a total rival to his actual people, which is the UK, the United Kingdom. It makes perfect sense to bring this up. Sheamus essentially would be like this. Bad News Barrett would be King Barrett. And he's still doing as he's done. I am King Barrett and I rule you all. And let's say Neville got his ass kicked multiple times by Bad News Barrett like he has been. And he's basically said, you are my subject. Obey me. And this is when Sheamus comes out. And he doesn't run to the ring. He stands at the Titantron with a mic in his hand and a shillelagh in the other and it says, hey, Barrett! You rotten arse kisser! You will not dominate anybody anymore! My people beat you! And I'm gonna beat you the same way my people beat yours. 400 some odd years of control will beat you! And I beat you. And I will destroy you. That is how we would start the feud. And he would team up with Neville. That's the reason why I said we would beat you. Because even though Neville's British, he would be on the side of Neville. Because a king back then in the early 13th, 14th, 15th century didn't give a damn. He basically, or she basically got what they wanted. No matter if they were good or bad, they got what they wanted. So this would be the way I would begin the feud between Bad News Barrett and Sheamus. A real, honest-to-goodness feud between two of the same people. They're both Europeans. They actually had animosity in their own countries. And in this respect, giving the Irish an opportunity to shine. This is something you don't normally see. The WWE doesn't like to be politically correct. I mean, you know what I mean. They don't like to go outside the norm. They want to be loved. But in this respect, they can't do that. They're looking so bad in their ratings. I would book them so there would be a very strong controversy. Not to the point, hopefully, that no one gets harmed. But it would be known it's a show. So people would actually take sides. Siding with Bad News Barrett, saying that the king has the right to control his subjects. And that means it would be Neville, he would be controlling. It would be Paige, he would be controlling. It would be Becky Lynch as well, that he would be going around to all of them saying, you are my subjects, obey me. And Paige would not want to face him. And Becky wouldn't want to face him. Neville would face him, but he would be beaten, and he feels like he has no choice but to face him. I mean, not to face him. And this is when Sheamus would come in and would be not just convince Neville, because he would team up with him, he would be convincing Becky Lynch and Paige. So that would bring in 2 divas as well. And I would drag this out for at least a couple of months. More than enough that by the time of, this would be the beginning of the year, January of 2016. I would do it then. By middle, near SummerSlam, we would have already begun to build up to actually have this feud between these two and culminate it in the ring of SummerSlam. And I would make it so there would be no winner. They would actually have their match and they would lose. Now, I know it makes sense to have Sheamus go over here, but I don't want to end this at all yet. I want to drag it out longer because I want to build up Sheamus enough that Bad News Barrett has to go to the Authority for help. And then Sheamus would transition away from Bad News Barrett and go directly to the Authority because Vincent Kennedy McMahon is an Irishman. And if an Irishman turns on a fellow Irishman, we got war going on, baby. And this is what I would do for the next 6 months. So I hope you enjoyed this Booking the Wrestler. Please give me a comment below. The 3rd and final installment of Booking the Wrestler will be Sheamus winning the championship. Have a good day and have a good night.